we will have high standards here, and we will fulfill those standards.
Brian Kelly arrived in Baton Rouge and wasted no time setting the expectations for his new football program. One with rich tradition and lofty goals, but looking to reestablish itself after 2 straight disappointing seasons. And after just 1 game, it certainly felt like LSU may be in for another rough year. Even members of the media seem to be doubting Kelly's ability to bring the Tigers back to glory.
We'll open it up to this late arriving media crowd. I don't think it has anything to do with winning. I think it has to do with being on time.
Then the pressure grew after a 40-13 drubbing at the hands of Tennessee in Baton Rouge. But as the saying goes, it's not how you start, but rather how you finish. The Bayou Bengals rattled off 5 big wins since, mauling rival after rival in the process before getting stunned in College Station. But even after that, they still have the chance to be kings of the conference in Brian Kelly's first season. But standing in their way, college football's final boss, the Georgia Bulldogs. A ferocious pack of dogs that has torn through its challengers all season long. Top 10 in total defense and total offense. Not a weakness in sight. And in their line of vision, a 2nd consecutive national championship, which no team has accomplished since the playoff era began in 2014. But this just might be the group to do it.
I've been proud of what our guys have done, but I'm always looking for our guys to play their best, and our best game is ahead of us.
The Dogs seek a dynasty. The Tigers are here to take down Goliath. It's all bite versus all fight. A championship is on the line in Atlanta, and the college football world will be watching on CBS.
Yes, that's a look ahead of the Southeastern Conference title game, UGA LSU, and CBS has you covered at 4 Eastern on a Saturday, and it is championship weekend in college football, and it starts with the Pac-12 on Friday night from Vegas. SEC, Big Ten, Big 12, ACC, all those title games come your way on Saturday. So that's a look at championship weekend, which again starts Friday with the Pac-12. Let's get some insight from HQ college football analyst Chip Patterson, who you know him from the Cover 3 podcast. And Chip, this is the last chance for change regarding the college football playoff teams, which is currently Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and USC. Let's start with those Dogs. SEC title game against LSU has Georgia 17.5-point favorites with the total here at 51. The Bayou Bengals coming off that loss at A&M. How do you see this matchup versus the defending national champs?
So I do think that it's possible that Georgia is going to find it a little bit difficult against this LSU defense. I mean, we've seen Harold Perkins become an absolute superstar at the linebacker position. B.J. Ojulari, who has done a great job of being a difference maker along the defensive line. The LSU defense, I do think, can cause some problems for Stetson Bennett and the rest of this Georgia offense because in terms of athleticism, in terms of talent, I do think the Tigers can match up. But how many points do we really think this LSU offense is going to be able to score? How many points do we think this LSU offense, which as it has come down the stretch, struggled against the likes of Arkansas, struggled against the likes of Texas A&M, how many points do we think that group is going to be able to score against one of the best defenses in the country? So my official prediction on this is 31-17 Georgia. That would technically be an LSU cover, but that would not be my best bet. So my best bet is going to be to take the under because the way that I see this game playing out is very similar to the way that the Kentucky game played out, very similar to the way the Georgia Tech game played out, which is that Georgia is going to be more than happy to limit the potential mistakes that the offense will make, rely on the defense, and just go out there and win the game by any margin necessary. I just don't think that Jaden Daniels, who might be a little bit banged up right now, and this LSU offense, which has some inexperience on the offensive line, I just don't think they're going to be able to score a lot of points against this Georgia defense. And so whether it's a close win, whether it's a lopsided win, a lot of ways to cash that ticket when it's an under.
Yeah, that's kind of been the trend for Georgia. They didn't get separation last week against Tech until the second half. As we look at the Big Ten championship, Michigan thump Ohio State and Columbus and jumped the Buckeyes in the rankings after outscoring them 28-3 in the second half this past Saturday. The Wolverines are 17-point favorites against Purdue. Total stands at 52. So, Chip, so much at stake for the Wolverines. So how does this kickoff for the Boilermakers play out?
Jim, we don't call them the Spoilermakers for nothing. It's because Jeff Brom is 3-0 against top 3 teams. Now, do we want to litigate how top 3 was an Iowa, how top 3, was a Michigan State? I understand that. I understand. But we cannot deny the way that this team competes when it has one of those top teams right in front of it. And here's what I think is very important about this particular matchup, because we saw Michigan come off that big win against Ohio State and then absolutely paced Iowa. But Iowa could not score points the way that this Purdue team can. Iowa did not have a quarterback like Aiden O'Connell. Iowa did not have a wide receiver like Charlie Jones. And so I think that what we've got is a Purdue team that, yes, has been very limited coming down the stretch as it has been going up against teams in these very difficult, cold, windy environments. You're going to have none of that in Indianapolis. You've got that temperature-controlled environment that I think is really going to help this Purdue passing game, and I think that that's going to give Purdue the opportunity to hit a couple good plays, hit a couple touchdowns, and be able to get us enough points to stay inside the number. Michigan, on the other hand, we still don't know the status of Blake Corum. Right. We know that the whole methodology of this Wolverines team is going to be to try to lean with defense and the ground game, and so I think Michigan wins, yes. But the Spoilermakers make it interesting. Give me Purdue plus the point.
Yeah, it was interesting against the Buckeyes because they weren't long, sustained drives. It was just the big play, and I mean big plays, big hits for Michigan. Another kickoff which has huge college football playoff implications comes from the Big 12 title game. This one expected to be a more even affair with TCU getting Kansas State in a battle of the top 10s. The Horned Frogs laying 2 and a hook, while the total stands at 62. So what's the play here, Chip?
It's to go over. This is a matchup between two very, very good offenses. And, when we look at Kansas State and we remember the way that they were just absolutely working TCU early in that game, they have a way with Will Howard at the quarterback position to be able to move the ball down the field. And I think that we are going to have another situation where this is going to become a little bit of a back and forth in Dallas. And so the way that they have wide receivers that can win one-on-one battles, the explosiveness that you've got with Kansas State running back Deuce Vaughn, and of course a TCU offense that can go out there and deliver big plays time and time and time again. I really, really like being able to take the over. A lot of times when we talk about these conversations here at this point in the week, we say, is this a number that you want to get right now? And that's why I say absolutely yes, because this was at 61 early in the week. It's at 62 right now. We know 63 is a key number when it comes to those totals. So this is one I would go ahead and snap up because I believe it will be 63 or north of that 9 touchdown number by the time we get to kickoff, because Kansas State and TCU, they both run the ball well. They both throw the ball well. I think it's going to be a shootout in the Big 12 title game.
Now, as I mentioned, it gets started with the Pac-12 title game Friday night from Vegas, Utah, USC. The Trojans just entered the top 4 with that 11-1 record. Their lone loss at the hands of the Utes, 43-42. That game had Cam Rising scoring on a 2-pointer in the final minute to seal the win. The Trojans are favored by 2.5. The total here at 67 and a hook. So what's your take, Chip?
Jim, I do still like going to malls. I know malls in America, it's kind of a divided topic right now, but I still enjoy it. And I like when one escalator's going up and when the other escalator's going down. Because that's what we have right now with these two teams. Because Utah is playing its best football of the season right now. Caleb Williams is in a rhythm. The offense is in a rhythm. The defense is playing with some confidence right now. USC is on the escalator up. And Utah, I think, might have been at the top when it beat USC. And while, yes, it absolutely blew Colorado out of the water, I think what we've seen is this offense has kind of been going down just a little bit. So I think that when we look at the way that these two seasons have gone ever since that Utah win against USC, and we consider the quality of competition that USC has faced, the Trojans are more championship ready than the Utes are for this moment. They're playing with an immense amount of confidence, an immense amount of momentum, and I think that all that is going to help USC be able to cover this very short number. Utah and Cam Rising, ever since he got a little bit banged up, it has not quite been the same team, and I believe that that is going to be very much on display on Friday night in Las Vegas. So I will take USC, the hot hand, and lay the points.
And USC has the odds on a favorite Heisman winner under center as well. As we talk about odds, how about we talk about the odds to win the national championship? And you see the defending champs, best of the bunch, Michigan right there. But look where Ohio State is. TCU and USC are currently college football playoff teams, but Ohio State stands right there. Perhaps a value play, if you will. Those are your title game odds. So as we speak, just prior to championship weekend kickoffs, with an eye on value perhaps, what would be the play to make right now, Chip, regarding a national championship play?
With the operative phrase being right now, we say snatch Ohio State at this price. Jim, this is an Ohio State team that didn't even see anything lower than like minus 250 all season. They've been in number 1. They've been number 2. They've been right up there at the top of the odds board. And now we have serious value. Yes, it does require Utah taking down USC in order to make even competing for a national championship possible for the Ohio State Buckeyes. But let this Buckeyes team get off the mat and get in the college football playoff, where I do think that Ohio State would be favored against TCU, where I do think that Ohio State would be favored in a rematch against Michigan, and where Ohio State might even be able to cause some problems for the Georgia Bulldogs. I think that that is the ticket that you want to get. You know, if you hold my feet to the fire right now, I do think Georgia's going to win the national championship, but minus 160 is not good value. You might as well just, bet everything on the SEC championship and then the semifinals and then just kind of like let it roll parlay style. Don't throw out that ticket at minus 160 right now. No, Ohio State plus 750 is the play to make right now, because if the Buckeyes get into the college football playoff at all, you're going to see this price change dramatically. They will become not the favorites to win the title, but they will become probably second on the odds board. So with them sitting at number 5, needing just one result to be able to make it into the top 4, I think that's the play to make.
Yeah, it's like a Black Friday sale right there. Getting bang for your buck with the Buckeyes, I should say. And they will be fans of those Utes come Friday night, no doubt. Our thanks to Chip Patterson all season long with his takes on the college football plays. And this is how he looks at championship weekend picks with regards to those dogs against LSU in the SEC title. Take the under, that total at 51. Purdue, Michigan in the Big Ten title game. Take the points with those Boilermakers who have pulled off an upset or two over the years. Big 12, he likes the over there with TCU and Kansas State. That total stands at 62. And he says lay the points with USC against Utah Friday night in the Pac-12 title game, with so much at stake for the Trojans. That national champion bet to make right now, a team that's currently not in the front 4, that being Ohio State, with those odds at a plus 750.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.